Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the first and maybe only episode of One Shot, a podcast where we talk about games, movies, and a little bit of everything else, and maybe, just maybe, find a little joy in our sweet blue universe. My name is Rune, and today we are going to be talking about The Legend of Zelda and how it would work as a movie. Before everyone here starts freaking out, and some of you are, don't worry guys, here's how One Shot works. I'm going to pitch to you 4 different pitches, while explaining each adaptation and take on the adaptation. For example, our first pitch is the family/outlaw pitch. The film would be about 2 hours and 36 minutes long. It will be a hybridization of animation and live action, kind of like the Sonic movie, but don't worry, not like the Sonic movie at all. Because our locations/background plates are going to be in live action. These locations include parts of Northern and Southern Ireland, New Zealand, Scotland, some parts of Australia, Joshua Tree, the Mojave Desert, and Death Valley. Also, some animals, like horses and seagulls, would also be in live action, but all of our characters, monsters, some of the dungeons, would be in mocap and in CGI. Now, the film will take place in its own continuity for reasons that you'll find out pretty much soon, with music supervisor being done by Koji Kondo, who will work with John Williams and John Debney. The film would be executive produced by Eiji Anomura, who I'm going to butcher up anyway, Takashi Tezuka, and the legend himself, Shugryo Miyamoto. All 3 would also double as consulting producers as well, and for those of you who are wondering, well, what's a consulting producer and what do they do? The consulting producer is usually a former executive or co-producer that no longer works on a particular show. They often assist writers and producers regarding specific areas of concern that is likely to coincide with their experience. However, in this case, they're going to practically be the lore masters or lore keepers. They will come on board and say, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this, you can't do that. Ganondorf does not have pink hair, he has red hair. Link does not wear a dress or a kilt, a tunic. Stuff like that. The film will also be distributed by Universal Studios, with effects done by ILM, Weta, Digital Domain, and DNEG, which has done work such as The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, the new Doctor Who series 11, and everything else that you can name it, including Altered Carbon and etc., etc. So, we're getting ourselves some good pedigree right here, guys. So, who would direct it? I'm thinking at the moment Brad Bird, and possibly written by Joss Whedon. Before we begin, there's just one more thing I like to tell everyone here. So, for all of these different pitches, every single character has different accents and dialects, which I believe can expand the culture and the mythology and the characters themselves. I.e., the Gerudos have a very soft, very crisp Middle Eastern accent, yet their dialect comes more from Sana'a, which is in Yemen. Or they can have a southern, crisp Barcelonian accent and dialect. That's the Gerudo tribe. Dundee, Aberdeen, Glasgow, Belfast, Dublin, Cork. Those are the different accents and dialects that the Kokiri would have. So that gives you a good reference. Westminster and Windsor are essentially what you get from Princess Zelda and from all the other higher, more regal Highlands, while the rest of them have Londoner accents, and it kind of spreads out from there. So sit back, relax, as I welcome you to The Legend of Zelda. The opening is all done in 2D animation. It's three flames out in the cosmos. Each one represents one of the goddesses. Din, the bright red one. Nehru, the bright blue one. And Feor, the bright green one. And they all are flying around as Din causes huge explosion and implodes, causing the creation of the earth. Swirling around next, you see waters basically coming up there, and you see these clay figures coming to life, almost with this blue mist around them, giving them knowledge. And then you have Feor swing around, creating greens, creating the life in the land, the sea, and the sky. They all fuse together to create the Triforce itself. Triforce simply goes up, shines a bright light, and you see a silhouette that should look semi-familiar, but also very different, of three folks, chosen heroes. One that looks kind of like Princess Zelda, one that may or may not look like Ganondorf, and one that kind of may look like Link. They look like them, but they don't look like them. Like, if you saw it, you're like, well, for a quick second, you're like, well, maybe, but it could be, All of this is going on. Here is the opening narration. This is but one of the legends of which the people speak of. Long ago, before time itself begun, before the deities and spirits were birthed into the ether of our world, there were three golden goddesses. Din, with her powerful arms outstretched, created the foundation of our world. Nehru, in her bountiful wisdom, created the rivers and thirst of knowledge for our forebears to follow. And Feor, in her infinite courage, to give life toward all the land, sea, and sky. Once they created our world, they left us with a powerful relic, the Triforce, an unlimited power sealed away for countless eons, forged through the balance of its chosen masters. No one has ever seen the Triforce itself, and its legend is still passed down through generations. Maybe someday it will show itself to someone worthy of its power. Castletown resident Link, who's 16 years old, is going to make his first sword. His father is a blacksmith, his mother is a baker, and Link is the middle child of his family. See his baby sister Cable, who carries this adorable little Deku Scrub plushie around. He has an older brother named Mats, who looks a lot like Link. They both also happen to share the same weird birthmark, except for Link, he has this triangle birthmark on his left hand. Mats has it on his right. And how that is, nobody really knows why. They just figured, it's a weird thing happening for them. Meanwhile, Ganondorf Dragomir, the Dragomir clan, clan within the Gerudo tribe, there are two of them, is in an ever-increasing civil war with the rival Majora clan. Ganondorf and his daughter Fijin, and trusted Gerudo warriors led by their top guard, Naborsa, are off to gain an alliance with King Zohansen of Hyrule. Now, unbeknownst to all, Ganondorf has been followed by an assassin from the Majora clan who plans to frame Ganondorf for the murder of Princess Zelda. Princess Zelda is gone, the alliance ceases to exist, and the rival Majora clan will have an ally, albeit unwilling ally, to take out the Dragomir clan, and all's well ends well. But that's not how things exactly go. In fact, King Zohansen of Hyrule himself even wonders, why should I trust you desert folk? Which is kind of a racist slang for the Gerudo, especially any Gerudo tribe out there. So Ganondorf simply says, I know how to get the Triforce. Really? I know where it's at. So he's like, well, let me talk to my bodyguard Impa over here, who's part of the Sheik tribe. Sheik tribe, those guys are like ninjas and whatnot. Let's talk. While this is going on, Princess Zelda has pretty much lived most of her life in a castle tower. She really, really wants to take responsibility for her people. I know, right? A princess that wants to be responsible? What? But she's very wise. She holds a lot of strong convictions, and she generally wants to learn about Hylians, Zoras, Gerudos, everyone else that's in their alliance, everyone else that's in the kingdom itself. Fijian, on the other hand, wants to just kind of kill everybody and just usurp a kingdom as is and take things for herself. However, she and Zelda start to get to know each other, and they have this very frosty relationship. But she and Fijian sneak out in disguise. Meanwhile, Link finishes his sword, and he even gains his infamous green tunic, which in this universe is actually a custom family suit with a green apron on and whatnot. The hat is there for protection. It's pretty cool, actually. I mean, his older brother has a customized similar one, but it looks better. And he has kind of the newer one. And it's, pretty cool itself. It doesn't need anything in it yet. So now you know how we get that. Anyways, Link meets Zelda and Fijian as he's off to test his new weapon while Mats, their father, go to fetch the rest of the family to celebrate. As Link and Zelda and Fijian meet, Link even tries to protect them from the assassin who shows up and just tries to say, well, I'm just going to just murder everyone here. Link holds his own ground for the most part until he gets knocked out. Zelda gets shot, or at least part of her hair gets shot off. There's some blood. Her dress gets ripped and whatnot, and Link is knocked out. When he comes to, there are guards standing over him. There's a body. There's evidence to make it look like that Link's the one that murdered Zelda. In reality, Zelda used the distraction with Fijian to escape from Hyrule itself, to go into hiding somewhere. Poor Link. In the ensuing battle, where Mats, Cable, Link's mom and dad come to simply say what's going on, while Link's being up and arrested, Mats basically kicks their butts, says Link, go out there, and ensuring battle, Link's entire family is killed, with the exception of Mats and Cable, who are sent and locked up in Link's place. Now, Ganondorf has been under semi-suspicion, but he promises King Johansson of Hyrule he will find his own daughter and find the culprit, the fugitive. Well, if you can find them, that's good. However, to make sure that you keep your promises, I'm sending Impa in my place to keep watch on you. Some of the Sheikah are going to be with some of the Gerudo tribe. After all, how can I trust a desert rat? Again, racism. How fun. After all, Fiji's also under suspicion of being an accomplice to Link, because eyewitness reports said there was a Gerudo woman there, and Ganondorf's trying his best to stay calm and trying to be peaceful and trying to say, look, I desperately am needing the alliance, I'll do whatever. So now on the run, Link, Fijian, and Princess Zelda need to find the real culprit, and who the assassin is, bring them to justice, and this sends them off on their big adventure. Along the way, they discover all kinds of things. They run into Ganondorf, who's actually pretty darn cool and does protect the kids. He even guides them and kind of manipulates Link along the way because he figures, well, he did notice that Triforce birthmark. He also notices one similar on Princess Zelda herself. 2 out of 3 ain't so bad, and whoever can wield all three pieces of the Triforce can simply wish the conflict away and maybe even wish to clear their name. Link's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Princess Zelda's like, you're clearly manipulating us, but, in this situation, I don't see any other choice at the moment. Fiji's like, Dad, I hate you. Anyways, the Triforce is guarded in these 3 different temples, which has 3 guardians. Only the Chosen One can actually wield them, or the Triforce pieces. Those with the mark can control the Triforce pieces. Those without it will be fully corrupted and controlled by the pieces themselves. Throughout the battle, Mats makes his escape. He kills a couple of guards. He goes on his own personal journey of kind of anger and revenge and vengeance. I can't see the air quotation marks, but I'm using the air quotation marks for vengeance. And Ganondorf kind of goes through his own journey as well. By the time they get the Triforce of Power, Ganondorf notices that it's too late. The Majora clan, the assassin, everyone is coming onto them, and he decides to sacrifice himself to protect mainly his daughter, and says she'll be a great queen someday, and he loves her very much. Whatever happens, I will always love you. Takes command of the Triforce of Power, and it corrupts him and turns him into this gigantic pig beast that's pretty mindless. Has some basic intelligence. As it goes off, Ganon, as he's now known, starts basically attacking everyone and everything. And yet, before he could kill Link, he stops. Mats takes the Triforce of Power and uses it to command Ganon, to command a crap ton of monsters by his side to create a new army. He gives Princess Zelda and Link a head start. Same with Fiji. He says, I'm going to come for you. This is not the end of our story. And we leave off there. Now, there's some other random fun facts about this. Ganondorf and his relationship with his daughter, Fiji, is parallel to Kenzo Hansen and his relationship with his daughter. One keeps one locked in a cage, so to speak. So Hansen to Zelda. While Ganondorf lets his daughter be more open with her opinions and honesty and whatnot, but he still wants to make sure that she is more diplomatic, more kind. They clearly have night and day relationships, but it's kind of a cool little theme out there, which makes it more sad when Ganondorf sacrifices himself for his daughter. One of the other things that we learn about is that Link was originally supposed to be the chosen bearer of the Triforce of Power, but he gains the Triforce of Courage, so it swaps with his brother. We learn that other than meeting Gorons, Zoras, Gerudo, some other scattered creatures around Hyrule, that each of the Guardians, for example, one is in the shape of a mirror, and it creates a dark copy, that each Guardian is actually a reincarnation of the past bearers. So it's always a passing of the torch, which means somewhere down the line in this continuity, Link will become the next Guardian of a piece of the Triforce and turn into essentially a monster as a test. Or his soul would become a monstrous creature as a test for the next reincarnation and next incarnations to come. Which is kind of a cool idea. We also get some pretty cool lore around this version of Hyrule, how it came into being, other things like that, and many, many more things as well. So that was the first pitch. Our second pitch is the side story. These are original stories that take place within the Zelda universe canon. And by Zelda universe canon, I'm talking about everything in the mainline video games. For example, the story of King Gustav would be a 2D animation, or the Imprisoning War. These are stories that exist in the canon of the franchise, but can be adapted into full-length, high-production pieces. So, our pitch is going to be the Hyrule Civil War, with the end of the film leading up to the events of the game Ocarina of Time. Now, the film would be about an hour and 16 minutes to an hour and 32 minutes. We also explain the characters, the conflicts, how long the war's been going on for about a decade. We meet Link's parents, Valen and Loram, and they are going to be our central protagonists, while also setting up the stages for Ganondorf's quest, so he makes a cameo appearance. We see a younger Impa and her personal journey and what shapes her a bit into becoming the stoic character that she becomes. We talk about themes about war, themes also about post-traumatic stress a little bit, political intrigue, and a bunch of other different subjects as well. But you do get some pretty cool cameos from other characters in Ocarina of Time, like the Deku Tree shows up near the end. Ganondorf Dragomir is in the background. So are the rest of the Gerudos, so is Naboru. We meet Talon, and we actually do get to see Talon's wife. Or we get to see Malin's mom, which is pretty cool. So, who would write this movie and direct it? It's pretty unorthodox, but the director in my head for a project like this, which would be strictly 2D animation, harking back to anime or classic Renaissance Disney movies from the 90s, like The Lion King / the Kimba the White Lion remake. Shinji Ikari would probably be one of the few people in my head to direct it. He's usually known to direct mecha anime, so this would be a very different approach, but I still think he can do war really well. This is a guy who's done Gundam, who's done Ghost in the Shell, if I remember correctly, and a bunch of other really cool anime and mechas that actually work with these themes. Music would be done by the lovely and talented Yoko Kanno, with additional music by Daniel Pemberton, who, if you don't know who he is, he's done stuff for The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. He's done the excellent score for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Seriously, check him out. He's amazing. And we're going to have this written possibly by... who's a good writer? David Hayter. We're going to get Solid Snake himself write the script for this, which I think would be really cool. And honestly, you have all these amazing people come together. You got yourself a really cool movie right here, especially when it focuses on how all these puzzle pieces come together in like a chessboard. So what's Ganondorf's motives for wanting this? Well, Ganondorf is kind of like the Joker in terms of we figure out more about his character and how a little more complicated he is. He wants to kind of do good, but because of the influences, because of his moms, because of Naboru, because of all this in-house fighting, he simply states, you know what, I'm going to be incredibly cunning and basically lie to everyone. He's pulling a very, very long con on everyone here. Well, we also get to learn the king's name, whose name is Zelrone Rudanis Hyrule. Yep, that's his name. We get to kind of see how he thinks, how he's talking to Poseidon, king of the Zora, and Darunia, king of the Goron, or the Goron Chieftain. And you see how he tries to basically make all these peace treaties. By the end of the film, everyone does come together, but a lot of things happen. For example, Link's father gets basically killed, in a final battle in order to protect Loram, who gets shot by some dark magic. She's dying. And she's holding it for as long as she can, and we see like a younger Saria and Mallow look over this mysterious creature that they're all scared by. And as Loram is laying there dying, Great Deku Tree takes a branch, takes a child, and she simply says this: "His name is Link. Take care of him, please." And the Great Deku Tree says, "I'll honor your wish and raise him like my own, with the rest of my forest children." And that leads directly into the events of Ocarina of Time. What's also kind of cool is everything that we're told about War and everything about Link's origin is, here's where it gets really twisty and really cool. The ending shot is Link from The Legend of Zelda himself, older, listening to the whole entire story about his family, and about his mom, and about everything else. And the narrator that we've heard a little bit about is the Great Deku Tree Sprout himself. So I think that's a pretty cool twist on the entire thing itself. Now, for our third pitch, this one's going to be really interesting. Our third pitch is the adventure pitch. Now, this is a kind of pitch that would either be animated, or could be done with Muppets, or live action. And it's the shortest of runtimes that we've seen so far, clocking in at about 90 minutes. The adventure is also the main theme about this adaptation. Taking the basic story of the original Zelda game, the original Legend of Zelda, add a few tweaks to it, build it up a little bit, you can build the equivalent of an Amblin version of Zelda. So, directed by Gendy Tartakovsky and Don Bluth, written by John Gattens, Ed Solomon, and Chris Matherson, starring Rob Paulson as the King, Steve Blum as Ganon, Sean Chiplock as Tom the Old Man, Joe Zisha as Ralph, and Hannah John Kamen as Princess Zelda with Zelda Williams, and many, many more. Music would be done by Sam Dillard, Eric Buchholz, I'm probably screwing up that name, sorry Eric, and Rosen. Or is it Rosin? We begin with the King of Hyrule explaining practically everything that you're going to need to know. Simply goes, "Long ago in the kingdom of what became Hyrule, my ancestors fought a great war with the ancient Moblin race. Wielding the legendary Triforce, we scared them away. But now, the Moblin King Ganon has kidnapped my daughter. I only ask of you brave heroes to rescue her. Please, if you could do that, and banish Ganon once and for all, I shall allow you to marry my daughter and become the next ruler of Hyrule. All the kingdom and everything in it would be yours. Please, adventurers, I beg of you, save my daughter." Story is about a young boy named Link Misneach. Sorry, everyone in Ireland, I know I butchered the Irish Celtic word for courage. Who, along with a group of other adventurers, take up the quest to save the Princess of Hyrule, Zelda Realms Hyrule, from the King of the Moblins, Ganon. Link and his buddy Ralph, who, again, Link is pretty much the equivalent of a sidekick here, compared to Ralph, who's this brave adventurer and accidental idiot, but he's pretty cool. He and Ralph get separated, and while that happens, Ralph's like, "I'll find you, Link! Oh, hey, there's a monster over there. I'm gonna fight you, buddy." Ting, 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 ting. Link's like, falls down and lands in a cave Next to Tom, the old man, who simply says, "It's dangerous to go alone, boy. Yeah, take this old sword and shield. That should help you."
Okay. I shall go save the princess once I find Ralph.
And that's a horrible Link voice. It's a terrible one. I'm sorry, everyone. Meanwhile, Link follows clues and goes into a couple of these old temples where Ganon's moblins have camped out and set up for their own personal bases, since the kingdom took their lands. With their generals, which are the bosses of each dungeon, we explore a total of 4 bosses, and we will see, plus Ganon himself. These bosses are General Goma, Lord Kairak, Sir Agrahim, the Moldrum, and Ganon. It turns out there are far more sinister forces at play here, as Ganon has been looking for the Triforce, a relic that is said to grant the user a wish with unlimited control of power, courage, and wisdom. And the princess has one part of it, which is this glorious crown that she has. Ganon has a Triforce of power in the form of a Dark Triton, and the pieces that they found, well, at least the pieces that Ganon's bosses and generals had found before they were snatched up by Link, is the Triforce of Courage, which Link took from the bosses. Once all the pieces come together, Ganon meets Link and Link meets Ganon, and they fight to get the Triforce itself. Ganon's personal wish is to erase Hyrule, maybe let a few humans live, wondering whether they should become pets or should just become food. Kind of up in the air on those two ones. But he definitely wants to erase Hyrule and let his land come back to him. And even a really fun twist, turns out Princess Zelda has been manipulating everybody the whole time, just so she can get the pieces of the Triforce, which the Triforce of Courage comes in the form, or turns into the form of a golden sword. Kind of like the Master Sword, but, well, very different. Yeah. So, as the twist comes out, Zelda's been manipulating everyone the whole entire time, so she could solve her kingdom's problems herself, show off more of her responsibility, and Zelda, well, after being interrupted by Ralph, wishes just for a way to not only shut Ralph up, but something that could practically destroy Ganon once and for all. And she gets silver arrows. She fights with Link, they destroy Ganon, and one of the arrows ricochets off, hits Ralph in the leg, so he's not going to be adventuring for a while now. And that is it. Those are our 3 movie pitches. Like I said, we have a bonus one, though. So our final bonus pitch is the anime pitch, which is an original anthology series with original stories set within different eras of Hyrule's history. The first season would consist of 12 one-hour episodes, and this series would be called the Hyrule Fantasy, The Legends of Zelda. Our host is this very fun, jovial old man who lives in a cave. He's got all these cool relics and trinkets everywhere. And the audience member is either a young boy or a young girl. Doesn't necessarily say, and hints a little bit at what this character might be. There are a lot of 2-parter episodes for the first season for different legends, which can be split into 3 different stories. And in season 2, well, there was this little sword that you saw in the background of the original man in the cave. It turns out that sword, in particular, is the legendary Master Sword. The old man himself, the chronicler, or storyteller, or grandpa, is actually Link, a incarnation of Link. And season 2 pretty much follows his entire storyline of where he came from, what he was doing, how he ended up here, and everything else in between. And so, that was One Shot. How did you like it? Would you like to see more episodes from us? If not, that's cool. But what should our next topic be? Should we talk about video games? Should we talk about hypothetical movies? The choice is yours. See you real soon, everyone. And have a lovely, lovely life.